This is the Juice on the Cuse webcast on SNY.TV, and I'm your host, Wes Chang. It's a great day in New York City, always a good time to be talking about Syracuse basketball, and I'm now joined in studio by our very good friend and Boeheim's Army General Manager, Kevin Belby. Kevin, thanks so much for coming on.
New studios, how could I say no to this invitation?
Absolutely, and let's talk about Boeheim's Army. I want to get you started on this one. Final Four, you guys have been competing in the basketball tournament for 3 years. This is the farthest you've gotten. This is a thing now, right? You guys are going to be playing in perpetuity, and you have to like how I use the legal term there.
Exactly. You know, as long as the players want to play, I'm more than willing to, to help and participate and run the things behind the scenes. I'm glad that we're able to kind of, not even though we didn't win it all, we crossed the threshold this year by making it to the Final Four. And I think we'll build some great momentum and excitement for next year, both with guys wanting to come back and some guys that didn't play, watched us on ESPN, watched our journey, saw how much fun it was. Maybe we'll want to get off from the sidelines and join us on the court next year.
So you guys were right in there with Overseas Elite. It's two minutes left. It's a 4-point game. You guys could have easily advanced to the championship. So what adjustments do you think you need to make heading into next season? Is it personnel? Please don't go man-to-man. Keep it zone. But what other adjustments do you think you need to make to get over that next hump?
Yeah, it's fun playing zone. I think it's fun for the fans. It's good for the guys. We basically got an all-star Syracuse team, so we're so long and active. We've got some great guys, even a guy like Trevor Cooney who's coming off the bench. He was almost coming off the bench more for defense during the tournament than offense, just because he's so good in the zone at the top. Kind of leading the way there. So adjustments for next year. I mean, we were so close. I wouldn't want to totally overhaul it, but I think continuing to get guys that are team-oriented, that are willing to spend 7 to 10 days up in Syracuse, maybe even more next year, practicing. It takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of dedication. A lot of guys, if they're playing overseas, they're away from their families 8, 9, 10 months a year. And the summer is often their kind of relaxation time when it's their Disney time, it's their barbecue time.
Right.
So, we practiced the day of and the night of the 4th of July. So it takes sacrifice. So we need guys that are willing to give up the time for just the chance at something special, at a 1 in 64 chance. And I think if we have guys that are committed, we'll win.
Talk about a guy like Eric Devendorf, who had an amazing basketball tournament. I mean, he was so efficient. He played such great defense. The passion's still there. How's this guy not playing overseas on a contract or trying to make his way through the pro leagues and maybe to the NBA?
It's a great question. I know, the tournament, just like the NCAA tournament, they've got their own selection committee where they sit in a room and go through 1 to 10 of every roster, where guys played this year, how guys played. And Eric was probably somebody that they looked at and was like, he's coming off the couch, so to speak. And I've always said that this tournament has gotten way too competitive for guys to just go out and play. I think the perfect example is 2 years ago. There was a team of Brian Scalabrine and Mike Bibby, and I think they thought they were just going to walk through the tournament. They lost in the second round. They didn't even make it to the Sweet 16. So I think the tournament maybe looked at our team, and Eric is our starting shooting guard, and said, maybe this is the year where he slows down, and this was probably his best year yet.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's probably it's totally a credit to him, because he's not exactly coming off the couch. He's up in the Mellow Center. I know he's taking care of his body, both eating right. He's in the meditation game now, so his mind was right. And he's still shooting and making 500 jump shots every single day. So that hasn't changed, just because he wasn't playing, up and down competitively, professionally. But there is definitely a place for him out there. I mean, there are players that he played against in this tournament that had 2 points and 3 assists, and somehow are getting high-level overseas gigs, getting signed to NBA rosters. And he's a guy that shot over 50% from the field. In our Final Four game, had 24 points on 12 shots. And it was just more than that, more than the points, was our emotional leader. He's the guy that everybody looks to for advice. Everybody looks to when we get down by 25 points, how are we going to respond?
Right.
So I can't say enough about him as a player and as a person.
This is really like a moment of nostalgia for these guys, because we were talking about this pre-show. You go from the Carrier Dome, 30,000 people, 40,000 people rooting for you, and then you're kind of out of the limelight for a little bit. You get back Boeheim's Army, it's like a little bit of a reunion, and suddenly they remember what it's like. I mean, was it like that for you guys as it was like for the fans?
Yeah, the players, it's different when you go overseas, and you know, C.J. Fair said it best. He's like, there might be fans there, but they're yelling in a different language. You don't even know what they're saying.
Right.
So to kind of wear orange again and to have a whole gymnasium packed and everybody standing and clapping just like they do for the first basket, just like they do in the Carrier Dome, that's special. College, as you know and I know, even as normal students,
Yeah.
goes by super fast. In the blink of an eye, and then you kind of wish you had it back. So these guys, it's like a chance at redemption, and you know, none of them, except for, you know, we had Hakeem work on the previous 2 years, he did, but none of these guys won a championship. So I think obviously the money's great, the exposure, but these guys are playing just to compete, playing for the chance to say that they're a champion, and to do it together, it's so special.
You said that you were a normal college student, but you weren't a normal college student because you were the manager of the basketball team. And I want to talk a little bit about Syracuse basketball for a moment. Syracuse gets a commitment from Darius Baisley. He's a top 12 recruit in the 2018 class. Jalen Carey's coming to visit later in September. So when you were a manager there, you had great recruits coming in, right? Tyler Ennis, Tyler Lydon, you know, Michael Carter-Williams, guys who are now all playing in the NBA at a high level. What was that like when a big-time recruit came on campus, and how did you get someone like a Jalen Carey to commit to Syracuse?
You know, it was always a special time when big-time recruits come to campus. It's exciting. I think that the coaches always do a good job of planning it at the right times. You know, so I know like Tyler Ennis and Jeremy Grant, their first experience on campus was during a Midnight Madness event when Wale performed, and there were, you know, former Syracuse players there. So you're strategic about when you want to bring guys on. Other guys, maybe it was the Syracuse-Georgetown game, 35,000 people, sold out. So it's always, when big recruits are on campus, it's either a great game or a great event, or it's in the middle of the summer and the weather's great. So either way, it's a good time, and you know, the coaches obviously do a great job planning that out.
You look at a guy like Darius Baisley who commits, again, he's number 12 in his class. That's a huge get. But then you looked at some of the momentum recently, and it stalled. They missed on Quade Green. They missed on Cole Switter. They missed on Jordan Tucker. Was there any concern with the coaching staff that, hey, we're starting to miss on recruits, and here our lead recruiter is Mike Hopkins taking over the job at UW? Or was it just, all right, well, we missed, let's move on to the next?
Yeah, I mean, I do, you know, general manager for Boeheim's Army. I'm not working with the staff anymore, so I don't know exactly their thoughts, but I would guess that they weren't worried at all. I mean, you mentioned a guy like Baisley, who's number 12 in the class. Even a month ago or whenever it was that he committed, he wasn't number 12 in the class. So Syracuse, I think the basketball staff, they've done a great job of identifying young talent, identifying them early. A guy that comes to mind when I say that is Michael Carter-Williams. I remember when he committed, he was a 3-star, not even in the top 100 ranked recruit. Probably was just about to go into his junior year, and by the time he was graduating his senior year in high school, he was a McDonald's All-American, 5-star recruit. So I think that, you know, not to steal the phrase from Philly, but trusting the process. You know, these guys, Jim Boeheim, 1,000 wins, certainly knows what he's doing, and they'll find, it's not always about getting the best players. It's about getting the right players for their team, for the zone, the right personalities. And I think that, you know, the staff has shown for decades now that they're able to do that.
Kevin, we'll get you out of here on this one. The season's about 2 months away. We're about 2 months from October right now. So how do you see this season, upcoming season, playing out?
I think it'll be exciting. You know, there's a lot of young talent. I think future stars of the program. Hopefully, you know, a lot of these freshmen are there for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe some of them 5 years if, you know, 1 or 2 of them redshirts this year. I'm excited to see how Matt Moyer does coming off a redshirt year. I know, you know, the last guy I think to do that was Trevor Cooney, and he learned a lot. He grew a lot. So, you know, I just think that Tyus Battle could be one of the best players in the country. And, you know, Torian, I think, getting more of a workload could just be very exciting. He's so dynamic. So I think that there's a lot of potential with this team. It's going to come down to how much they can grow and gel and trust each other as a unit. And from everything that I hear and everything that I see, I think that they could do that. So they'll be an underdog in a lot of the top ACC games. You know, Duke is just absolutely loaded again.
Right.
But, you know, I think we've been an underdog in every game we've played against them, and we've got a pretty good record so far, some really exciting games. So I'm excited to see how they do. I think it'll be a great year.
Kevin,
hopefully back to the tournament.
Hopefully back to the tournament,
that's my goal.
right.
Yeah, make some noise there.
Absolutely. Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the webcast today. Kevin Belby, Boeheim's Army General Manager, really looking forward to watching Boeheim's Army next summer as they look to take home the championship and move forward from that Final Four. That's it for us. For Kevin Belby, this is Wes Chang. You've been watching the Juice on the Cuse webcast on SNY.TV, and we'll see you next time.